Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. Today I am going to be reviewing a photography collection called New England Days. This is by Paul Caponigro, who I'm not familiar with at all, but I did do a little bit of reading up on him before I read this book, so I'd be a little bit more familiar. It is landscape photography primarily from New England, or primarily landscape photography from New England is what I should say, and it is in this black and white format. So I got this book because I think New England is a very pretty area of the United States. I've had the opportunity to go there several times and it's quite pretty, so I do like it. Again, not familiar with the photographer. I did learn though that he passed away here quite recently, November of 2024. So I unfortunately did not discover him while he was still living, but I think that he does a very good job and he's known, I guess, to be well regarded in his field. So I guess there is that. I unfortunately am not well versed in photographers, so that's not surprising that I have not heard of him. I do think that when it comes to photography, black and white photography and color photography are two different beasts. And this is where I'm kind of stepping outside my subject expertise here because I'm not, again, well-versed in photography. I do tend to gravitate towards color photography, I will say, but I don't mind black and white photography. I just don't tend to reach for it as much. But I did reach for this one because I was curious to see how the photographer was going to translate the New England landscapes into black and white photography. So I do have some of my favorite ones picked out. There's not a lot of writing in this book. There's not a lot of text in this book. It is primarily just the photography. There's a foreword and an introduction, and that's about it. There are these little poems that are set up across some of them as well, but not a whole lot of information. There's of course a section in the back that lists the plates and the locations where they are taken and other information about them if you are curious about that. 15, this is just a classic New England scene. I liked it. I tend to like in black and white photography where there's high contrast. I don't know if I'm describing it very well. Like here's this one with those trees, those white, I think they're birch trees, like that. That's one that I like. And again, on page 33, there's one. This is one of those stones, like the scene stay damp, made out of a different material, I think. And I like the contrast of this one, which is a stone, with this, which is some sort of lake or a puddle of some sort. I just like the way those are put together. Page 42 and 43. I feel like, again, when I look at these photography collections, I'm looking for photographs where I can feel what's going on. Like I can feel the photograph, if that makes sense. And I feel like these were two that I could feel. So I liked these. This is like a leaf on a screen. This is that frost on a window. He did some photography, I guess, up at his cabin or a house he had in Maine, I think the book was saying. So that's also where some of this came from. This is very fractal-like, so I liked this one. Not quite fractal-like, but that's my first impression of this when I saw it. Then again on page 60 and 62, I like these window scenes. And my favorite stretch was this stretch from 70 to 75, which were these, I don't know what to call these. You can also paint them. I want to say still life arrangements, but I'm probably just making stuff up at this point because I'm not very artistic. But they're like these bowls full of stuff on a table, which I really liked these. They're clearly arranged in a way that the landscape photography is not, but I really like these best. So this stretch was really my favorite here. I wonder if the plates in the back will say exactly where these were from. Yeah, they look like they're all from the location in Maine, which is where I believe he has his cabin or home of some sort. So we have these. I like this one too. This is probably my favorite in the whole thing. And then of course in the back we have the list of locations if you're curious about a lot of the landscape photography. I did enjoy this one. I do still feel like I have a slight preference towards color photography versus black and white, but I definitely see the fact that he has a lot of talent, and I did like that this book introduced me to a new photographer who I wasn't familiar with, but seems to have been very influential and well known. So it's definitely broadening my horizons, and I do like that photograph string or collection in the back where they were those still lifes or whatever they're called on the table. These were definitely my favorite, and I should probably do a little reflection to figure out why I like these versus the other ones. If you are familiar with this photographer, with this book, if you saw anything in this that you'd like to comment on, please leave it in the comment section down below. I love to receive your comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.